Recorded with Miss Clare Lopez on Sunday, February 12th, 2023 at 3:19 p.m. Eastern Time. I didn't know it was Super Bowl Sunday until last night when somebody said they couldn't do the show today because it was Super Bowl Sunday. So that shows how up to date I am on that. But this is normally we do a week apart, but Miss Lopez was just on here, and the reasoning is so when we spoke, there had been one balloon and it had been shot down. That evening, late that night, there was another balloon shot or object shot down over high altitude object shot down over Alaska. I had on Gordon Chang the next morning and we discussed that. Right after he came on, a third object was shot down over northern Canada, and Prime Minister Trudeau tweeted about that. And then after that, there were unconfirmed reports of an object over, I want to say central Montana, specifically where the ICBM bases are, and the airspace was temporarily closed. And I think it was reopened, and I haven't followed up on it further. And then I thought I saw something this morning about China spotting an object. And I don't know if that's, I put zero vetting into that, so that could be entirely BS. But so I stopped talking. Miss Lopez, what is going on? Is this the beginning? Is this the beginning of the end? Is this War of the Worlds? War of the Worlds? Is this World
You
War
know,
Three?
it really is becoming kind of difficult to keep track of all the balloons that we're hearing reports about, or possible balloons, or
Yeah.
radar hits, or whatever. So as you said, Tommy, that first balloon that trekked across the entire continental United States, prior to having entered U.S. airspace first over the Aleutian Islands in Alaska, then traversing down the entire west coast of Canada before entering the continental lower 48 United States. That was the first one, and eventually was shot down over U.S. territorial waters over the Atlantic Ocean, just off the coast of South Carolina. Well, if anybody thought that that was the end of it, I have to look at my notes just to even keep track. So what happened next was another week later, this past weekend, as you say, today being Sunday, February the 12th. But on Friday, February the 10th, apparently was the next incident. And at this point, an object, they weren't even calling it a balloon. They've stopped being very precise about what they're going after or seeing on their radar. At first, they called it an object that was shot down over northern Alaska, traveling along at about 40,000 feet of altitude and headed in a northeasterly direction. That would be like over the Arctic Ocean towards the North Pole. Not a lot of commercial airline traffic up there. Nevertheless, NORAD was tracking this one, and an American NORAD pilot eventually was the one that eventually shot down that object above Alaska, north of Alaska. That one apparently was detected by radar, but not until it had crisscrossed a good part of the state of Alaska, as I can tell, best I can tell. So then the next thing that happened was, let's see, I'm telling you, I have to look at this thing to keep track. So this particular object had been tracked, yes, by radar, and John Kirby, the spokesman for strategic communications of the National Security Council, made this announcement, and he said, well, you know, we actually detected this thing the night before. That would be Thursday, but it was dark, so we really couldn't do anything about it. What? You just told the entire world that the United States is blind at night to objects or intrusions into our territorial airspace? Thanks a bunch. Then let's see. Then we have the third in the series, that apparently was seen over Alaskan airspace, allowed to traverse the entire state of Alaska, that being in a westerly to easterly direction, until it was over the province of the Yukon in Canada, one of its westernmost provinces. And the Canadian Prime Minister gave the order to shoot that one down over the Yukon. And again, you had NORAD fighter jets, as I understand it, 2 piloted by Americans, F-22 Raptor jets, and 2 piloted by Canadian pilots, and those were F-18s. And those 4 went up to check out this new intrusion. And eventually, after Prime Minister Trudeau gave the orders, shot this one down with I think a single Sidewinder missile. But we got all kinds of conflicting reports along the way about this one over Canada. First, that the pilots who were sent up to check it out got close enough, first of all, to determine that this was an unmanned object. Did not appear, they said, to be self-maneuvering, but they said, the pilots said, this, whatever it was, had no visible means of propulsion, and it apparently, they thought, interfered with the sensors of their fighter jets. Now, on Saturday night, that would be last night, February 11, the Canadian Defense Minister, whose name is Anita Anand, spoke to the Canadians and on to the media, and she described that object over the Yukon as a small cylindrical object the size of a car. Now, later today, being Sunday, February the 12th, a senior U.S. official, also speaking to the media, described that thing as a small metallic balloon. I don't know how a metallic balloon stays afloat, but whatever. Carrying some kind of payload. But said the origin of that object was unknown. And then over this very weekend, to be continued here, the Federal Aviation Agency, FAA, established and then canceled a national defense airspace over the state of Montana. They later decided that that was just an anomaly on the radar.
Okay.
Then today, now we're at February 12th, Sunday, February the 12th, the FAA once again established very briefly, but then canceled a national defense airspace over part of Lake Michigan. In order, they said, to allow the U.S. military to examine, quote, potential contact. And then they determined that was not a threat, and the national defense airspace over Lake Michigan was canceled. And the very last, I guess this would be the 4th real, actual identified object. Balloon thing, was one we haven't mentioned, and this is one that was flying apparently over South America, specifically Colombia, and that was in some days past, not right now. So, you know, I'm not completely sure what we're left with here. It seems like our NORAD radar personnel are on a hair trigger. I don't know what they're seeing or not seeing, or if they think they're seeing. But I'll mention just a couple things that seem important here. Representative Matt Rosendale, who's a Republican member of the U.S. Congress from the state of Montana, released a statement this morning, that is again Sunday, February the 12th, on Twitter, saying that he was in, or remains in constant contact with NORTHCOM, that is the North American command of the U.S. military, that monitors threats in that northern airspace. And he says, Representative Rosendale says, I'm in constant contact with Northcom, and they've just advised me they have confidence that there was an object, and it was not an anomaly, that being over the state of Montana. I'll close with this, and then we can talk about this some more. To me, aside from the obvious total confusion at Northcom and at NORAD, apparently, never mind the U.S. Department of Defense and the Pentagon, what seems to be most disturbing is that up to now, and we're going on well over a week since all of this stuff first started, President Biden has not yet once
Addressed
the American public formally from the White House, from the Oval Office, to explain to the American people what's going on to the best of his knowledge, to reassure the American people that we are being defended, we are being protected, provide for the common defense, sound familiar out of the preamble to the U.S. Constitution, that. And then also to put the People's Republic of China, the Communist Party of China, on notice that this will not be tolerated, that we will defend our airspace against any incursions, be they balloons or anything else, from a hostile adversary or anybody else. But put them on notice. None of that has happened. Instead, last night, as I understand it, there was an entertainment evening at the White House where they had a program featuring country music star Brad Paisley.
Oh,
so that's all really, really nice for them. But how about for us?
Well, that's good. That's great. That was I read last night somebody had tweeted saying something was scrambled from Portland Jetport or Airport. I'm in Portland, Maine, and it's Portland Jetport. I think the other Portland is Portland Airport, and I freaked out and I started looking out my window and I didn't see anything. But this is what kind of now I just kind of want to Google. It's 3:32 p.m. I just want to see if there's any new things, because it seems to be happening
on an increasingly regular basis. I was just watching the news on cable TV before I came on the show with you here today. Nothing new since this morning's show.
Okay.
Our shows, but no new updates since then.
Yeah, Canada hunts for wreckage an hour ago. Both objects shot down 7 hours ago. 2 hours ago, Washington Post, Politico, Chinese spy balloon, other objects shot down over North America. Doesn't seem like there's anything else, but I mean, even that title, though, the U.S. has shot 3 objects out of the sky in 8 days. Like that alone, it can't be a partisan thing to say why has it. And anyone that watches this knows I openly support Trump. I don't support, and I get that. And okay, and if so I'm in whatever. That we have to put on like our big boy pants. Like that has to be addressed, right? This isn't me being some crazy partisan Republic. Like that is that like a pretty like lukewarm statement that like that this should be addressed?
Yeah, I mean we're beyond 2 weeks out from the beginning of this whole sequence of balloons or whatever they are flying over North American airspace, and so far we have not had one single official statement from the president. Now I realize that the president is not what can I say here, not quite up to par at the moment.
Sure.
And I know that there have been statements from NORAD spokesman. There have been statements from our own spokesman out of the Department of Defense, out of the Pentagon, but that's not the same thing as the supposed leader of the free world getting in front of the cameras and the microphones in a formal way and at least bringing the American people up to date on what they know and can reveal up to that point, And then, as I said, to reassure the American people, um, yes, you are being protected. Um, and that's not happened. And I think that's a real serious failure. But again, remember the article. I think we discussed it just a few days ago on the earlier program there with you, Tommy. The article that I wrote at my Newsmax blog site this past week, which in which I talked about what I think is the CCP's at least part of its mission with at least the first balloon. If we don't know about the second, the third, the whatever, certainly with the first, that it's in a way a psychological operation
Mm-hmm.
aimed at the people, we, the people of the United States of America. Yes, for visibility to the rest of the world, our friends and allies, as well as adversaries around the world too. But the image, the optics that were presented on live cable TV, beamed around the world, of that first balloon, the one that traversed the entirety of the continental United States, um, I think part of that was a psychological operation calculated by the CCP, um, to show the American people that no, um, this current administration of ours is not providing for the common defense. This current administration is not leveling with the American people. It's on to the contrary, hiding information, um, and causing, um, needless perhaps worry, and anxiety among the American people. But that's at least one of the objectives of the CCP. And again, for the first balloon, for which, by the way, the Chinese foreign ministry did take responsibility for the first one. So I obviously, yes, it was on an intelligence collection mission too. But I think even the broader objective was a psychological one, to corrode, to erode any remaining faith and trust the American people have in our government, in our Department of Defense to protect us, as well as showing the rest of the world, friends and adversaries alike, that this administration will not stand up to defend not just our southern border from land invasion, but our airspace too.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, so if it's nothing, I mean, you still got to come out and say it's nothing. If you
Mm-hmm.
just come out and be, it's balloons. Yeah, we shot them down. Anything, just anything. Like,
Or be honest about the report that I think I mentioned last time, uh, to the effect that the US military, was somehow able to disable, the sensor array, the intelligence collection technology of that first balloon. Is that true? Is that not true? Just tell us.
yeah, you come out and say, yeah, we disabled it. We didn't say anything because, it's a delicate situation.
At
And
the
we didn't,
time, yeah,
they
okay.
just
But tell us now, you know,
didn't even,
and they're not doing that.
I mean, even Kennedy addressed the nation like during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Like, even if just say, yeah, it's a delicate thing. We don't want everyone to be on a hair trigger. All right,
Hmm.
fair enough. Anything. And even come out and blame it on Trump. Say something. But I mean, it's in itself, it's already, offensive in nature, and that it's probing, not probing, but, invading airspace. But
But
that
yes, probing our
probing, sure.
response time, response manner, response capabilities, all of that.
The reason I took back probing is, in my mind at least, probing kind of has the general of like, at least me, it has the feeling of like, oh, they're at the edge versus no, this was penetrative. That
Hmm.
obviously
Hmm.
flew
Hmm.
across the United States. So that in itself is offensive, but there seems to be like another level of engagement of if electronic systems were at least affected when they were approaching the one over Yukon.
That is what the pilots have said.
That's like another level, right? To quote Hillary Clinton, we don't differentiate as cyber warfare is an act of war. That's an act of war that deserves kinetic war. I mean, if that is that not the not even going into Hillary, but just like, is that not an act? Is that an act of war or not? And if it isn't, come out and say again, hey, it's a delicate situation. We're all armed to the teeth with nukes. Let's take it slow. Whatever. It's that's We've shot down 3 objects in the last 8 days. Like, is that not newsworthy?
Unprecedented.
Should I shut up and just watch the Super Bowl? It's bread and circus. What am I? Maybe I'm the idiot. Maybe I need to put my head in the sand and just watch Lady Gaga or whatever the hell they're slinging. I I don't know, but there's also another part of me that's very hesitant to. And this is my own, I guess, cautious mind, is to not take this and dive headfirst into the pool of fear. Because that always seems to be, in hindsight, when you look at any event, you go, "Oh, probably should have been more level-headed about that." I'm trying not to take this and run to the bank with hysteria and freaking out. I don't know. That's just kind of me thinking aloud. But I mean,
Well, I mean, it's not expected, and it's not necessary that the president or the Pentagon reveal every specific about what they've gleaned from these episodes with these 3 objects. But there should at least be some kind of statement to the effect of reassuring us we've got this under control. We are able and capable. We're protecting, the North American airspace, and we will continue to apprise you as more details become available. Something to that effect. I don't know who the president's speechwriters are, if they have any, but it's certainly not Stephen Miller.
no. And as Gordon Chang said on my podcast yesterday, like I think we have to start looking at this as in context of Ukraine. Is this a pairing up of Russia and China? And as he said, this is all wild speculation, but nonetheless, I don't think these are wholly unrelated events, and I don't claim to know how they are related, but
Well, we do need to have some kind of statement as they know, as they learn about where these things came from. Obviously from the West, but from where? Um, I'm tending to go with the CCP until shown otherwise, but that's something they should be talking about.
yeah. And then there's like the little tiny hope in me that these are UFOs, but I don't think they are as much as I want them to be. I know. You're
Not this time.
shaking your
Not,
head in
which is not to
disbelief.
say that those aren't real. They absolutely are.
Yeah,
But these do seem to be objects attached to balloons in
yeah,
each of these 3 cases, and the one over Colombia too.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I guess it'll start to get hairy if I wonder if it is true. Well, I'll look it up and see if I can find it. If China did shoot down, not shoot down, but spot a balloon, because I thought I saw an article today.
Oh,
Um,
I know what you're thinking of, because I heard something or read something to that effect also. I don't know. Is this the Me Too movement for balloons?
yeah, we saw it too. Yeah, North Korea is gonna come out and start claiming it. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I feel like at this point I need to raise a balloon with my podcast logo on it just to get some PR. But I think with that, I think we pretty much covered everything. So Claire Lopez, I will
Okay.
let you go a couple minutes early. I know I
All
said
right.
I'll let you go 2 minutes early. And thank you for coming on short notice. As this is sort of a developing thing, and I think a normal 32-year-old guy would be watching the Super Bowl, but I'm reading about Chinese balloons. Maybe I should do some self-reflection. Maybe I should re-examine my life if I'm not enjoying Super Bowl
Well,
Sunday.
take the afternoon, evening off. I'm sure there'll be more developments coming along soon, and I'll look forward to joining you again for our regular podcast this coming next Thursday.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Claire Lopez, guys, as always, go check out her Twitter, her writings, her website, all that good stuff. Lopez Liberty LLC in the description. As always, Claire Lopez. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tommy.